Hello, and welcome to the Spiritual Godmother, a unique podcast show. I am Kimberly Adams, your host, offering you guidance, support, wisdom, and motherly love through a powerful fusion of life strategies and spiritual teachings. This is a safe place to heal, grow, transform, and maybe even cry a little as we learn some things about ourselves. Today's episode: 'Tis the season to make money, save money, and accumulate wealth. And I have a special guest with us today who's going to walk us through some tools, give us insight, give us some information that we can plan for our future. And her name is Christal Johnson, Ph.D. Hello,
Hello.
Christal. Hello. Welcome. Oh, it's such an honor to have you with us today. With
Yes,
me
it's a
today.
bless. Yes, it is a blessing to be here with you, and then to be talking to our audience today about 'tis the season to make money, save money, and accumulate wealth.
Yes. And as I had thought about the podcast, this episode, I'm reminded, I know when I was younger, I'm not going to tell my age, but when I was younger in school, we had the little savings accounts. They would
hmm
take us to the bank with our little bank books. They taught these things in school, but today there's not a lot of that teaching
No, it's not.
that's happening for our young people, even as adults. And I've known you for a little while and have learned some awesome tools, some information. I was like, okay, wow, because we hear
Mhm.
about finances, we hear about making money, saving money, and accumulating wealth, but actually, what does that look like? Um,
Yeah.
but first, share with us a little bit about you. About you. Who's Christal?
All right. Well, so I am a professor turned financial consultant. So I'm a college professor by trade, and so I was just like, the title is glorious and glamorous. But what wasn't glorious and glamorous, Evangelist Adams, was that paycheck. Okay, and so I'm like, listen, I'm working 70 hours a week, getting paid.
Yes.
Getting paid for 40, this math ain't mathing. So I was like, okay, Lord, you got to show me a way where I can use my same skills of educating people but about something that's going to give me the time, money, and freedom I deserve. And so, I met a lady at used to be able to singles ministry in my church. We got to talking. She's a financial consultant. She's like, I can see you do this. You seem like you have a heart for the people. And my thing is, let me try. I've never done it. But the thing is, money makes sense to me in my community, just like you said, right? We
Yes.
were taught about, the Christmas club books, what we called them growing up. And
Yes.
you remember the Christmas club books? Yeah, we
Yes.
got those, right? But really, we were not educated. Like we were given information, but not
Right.
education. So I said, you know what? If you all teach me how to educate myself and my community about a financial plan, I will do that. And so here I am 8 years later. I took a leap of faith, resigned from my position as a professor at Syracuse University. And so here I
Okay.
am as a financial consultant, been doing this 8 years and really thank God for it because it really is a ministry.
Yes. And I can say we thank God for you, for
Thank
those that take the time and come out and educate us in these areas. Because as you said, talking about the Christmas club, because I laugh,
you.
because it was putting money away just for Christmas, just for Christmas. Then we get that check, and then there it was, the Christmas shopping. And I
Uh-huh.
remember when it phased out, because I didn't know, but I went in one time, into the bank. Oh, I want to do a Christmas club. Oh, we don't do that anymore. I was like, what?
Okay. Right.
I'm like, this was my go-to. This was my, I didn't
Mhm.
have to worry about, look, make sure I have money. I knew I was putting that away. Um, But even as, the time that we've known each other, and I've sat under you in your teachings and different little conferences per se, where you'd come in and teach, I was blown away at the things that you brought to our attention.
Mhm.
Um, and as I said, it's the lack of knowledge. Yeah, we hear about it. Social media today, yeah, we see it
Oh my
on
goodness.
all over
Yes.
social media, but it's, what does this look like? So was laid on my heart to bring you in. Here we are embarking on the holidays again, and
Yes.
I loved when you gave me the topic, 'tis the season. Yes,
Yes, come on now. No better time
tis
than
the
now, right?
season. And even tax time, we're
Mhm.
filing taxes, people getting that, and come on, in this day and age, we get money, some of us who get money back, um,
Mhm.
get that tax money. What happened? It's gone.
Oh,
It's
it's gone.
gone within,
Gone before they get
before
it.
the
With my
month. Thank
furniture,
you.
clothes. Yes, absolutely. Get my new
But
car. Like, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, so sis, I want you to educate us, teach us, what we can do to make more money with what we have. There's many of us that's out there now have to work 2, 3 jobs
Yeah.
just to make ends meet and can't see a way of saving money. And
Mhm.
then even the little bit that we put aside, come on, if we're real, we have to dip into it.
Yeah,
And then
right,
it's like
right.
we saved it, now we've used it. Um, so I'm gonna let you take the floor as you go on. I may pop in with some questions, but hey, educate us, sis. Educate us.
Yes, absolutely. Well, listen, ready or not, here I come, Mrs. Adams. Um, and
There
so
you
while you were
go.
talking about how they, took away the Christmas Club books, do you know what they replaced it with now? Holiday loans. They keep us in debt. I don't know if you've
Loans.
ever, yeah, I don't know if you've ever received a message, but I get because I have a bank, I have an account at a bank and a credit union, and so I get messages around the holidays. Hey, need a holiday loan? For Christmas gifts. And I'm like, no, why did y'all replace us saving money for us
Yes.
going into debt? We're just a debt consumption society. And so the three things, I focus on education, implementation, and accountability. So I found that 90% of people or as Americans are failing financially because they don't have the correct information or any information, right? So
Hmm.
like you said, people, I hear all that, Crystal, I saw on TikTok, I saw on YouTube, right? I'm like, were they licensed? Like, we're talking about money. We're
There
not
you
talking about
go.
comic books. We're not talking about food. We're talking about money. If they are not licensed, right, you need to go talk to a licensed professional. And that's why I always make sure that I tell people I am a licensed financial consultant,
There
okay?
you go. There you go.
Um, and so I have to make sure that I educate people, right? After I educate them, I implement a plan and then hold them accountable to that plan, right? So that's why I'll make sure that I focus on those three things. And so, a lot of people have different, financial goals, which I think is
Hmm.
great. But again, making sure you have a plan in place because I think, like you said earlier, a lot of us feel like, oh, we can't get ahead, right? Well, let me
Right.
let me first propose this, if I can, Mr. Adam. If first of all, it's a mindset. Let's start there, right?
Yes.
And so, not
Yes.
too long ago, I had, I was asked to speak at a workshop for a school district, and they were talking about how this particular school district, was in poverty. This particular city was always ranking high in poverty, and like I used to teach research classes, so I always wanted to know what did they mean by poverty? How did they operationalize poverty? Well, it was
Hmm.
always based
Hmm.
on money, and it was based on money. But to me, poverty, I mean, money has something to do with, but to me, it's money and mindset. Right? Because
Yes.
we can always get more money, but it depends on what you do with that money
Do
is
it.
what's going to happen in your future. Does that make sense? Right. So
It
what
makes
you do with
sense.
$50 is what you're going to do with $500. What you do with $5,000 is the same thing you're going to do with $50 million if you don't change your mindset and you change your habits.
Come
So
on.
right. So I always talk about make sure you change your mindset, right? You change your mindset, you change your bank account, you change your mindset, you change your zip code, you change your mindset, you change your destiny. So that is very
Yes.
important in the education, educating people about finances, right?
Hmm.
And so what I do is, and also like I like a good story. Evangelist Adams, can I tell us a quick story
Tell
here?
it.
Now I wish I could
Share
take
with
credit.
us. Share with us.
I wish I could take credit for this story, but it is in the Bible, John the 5th chapter, and you know the story
Yes.
where Jesus spoke to that man was affirmed for 38 long years,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so Jesus walks up to the man and says, "Do you want to be made whole?" So Francis Adams, I had to stop and pause. Like, Jesus, you know this man wants to be made whole. Why would you even ask him? But I had to think about it, right? He wanted to know, did this man have the mindset to be made whole? Because so
There
let me
you
ask
go.
you, do you know anybody who, even though if they're given help, they just want to stay in their same situation? Have you ever met anybody
No.
like that?
No.
Well, unfortunately, I have. I've given them tools, and they're like, "Oh no, I don't want it." They like to be a victim,
There
and
you go. And you know
sorry
what,
to
too? They
Mhm.
get comfortable. They're
Yes,
comfortable with the way things are. And then also, too, when you think about it, they're afraid of change.
yes,
If I change and take this step, will I be okay? Will it benefit me? Will it be what she says it's going to be? And that brings about
absolutely.
fear as well.
You are
Yes.
absolutely right. So when I paused to think, why would Jesus ask this man this? I had to understand, like he, with all his infinite wisdom, Jesus
Hmm. Hmm.
understood that I have to make sure you have the mindset, right? That you're not going to walk in fear once you're healed. To make sure that once you have a physical healing, everything else will follow. But Jesus also
Right.
realized that if his mind wasn't ready for the healing, if psychologically and mentally he wasn't ready, a physical healing wasn't going to do that man any good because he
Mm-mm.
would have walked away physically healed, but because of his mindset, keep rehearsing it, telling people, you know what, although I'm healed now, I was sick for 38 years. It's like, no. And so Jesus said, before I heal you, that is all of you ready to be healed,
That's
right?
it. That's
You know
it.
what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
And so I had that discussion with people when I had have that discussion about money. It's all of you, right, ready to be made whole? Or are all parts of you ready to be financially free? Because if not, I'm not going to have a
That's
discussion
it.
because I could go through a plan with you and you said, well, slow it's me. I still can't get ahead. I can't do anything with the broke mindset, right? Because for me, poverty is a
Hmm.
mindset, right? We can always get more money,
Right.
but we always can't change our mindset unless you're willing to. So that is very
That's it.
important in the steps to, getting back on the right track to financial freedom. So I talk about a strong financial house, right? And there are people that
Hmm.
will tell me, okay, you know what, Crystal, I want to get out of debt. Or I want to budget and or I want to save. All of those are great, but I need you to know nothing is in isolation within itself when it comes to a financial plan. So people say, I just need to learn how to budget. No, there's other things that affect and can be affected by budgeting. Or
Hmm.
people say,
Hmm.
I want to
Hmm.
invest. Listen, there are steps that affect and can be affected by you investing. So that's why we have to look at it at every level of what I call a strong financial house. So let me talk to you. And I always start from the bottom of the house because, as you know, the foundation is the most important part of the house. So I
Yes.
always start with
Yes.
something that we have no control over, and that is death, right?
Right.
And
Right.
unfortunately, just too many people have been passing away. I'm like, my God, in a short amount of time, and death has no age. People are like, oh, I'm so young, I'll be around. Well, we pray that you're going to be around for a long time, but let's be real, we don't know what tomorrow holds.
We don't
In the
know.
day, I have to make sure that you are whole no matter what tomorrow holds. That's what I tell my potential clients and my current
Hmm.
clients, right? Because I'll have people say, I'm young, I'm not going anywhere, or no, I'm good. My husband and I, we do our finance together. Listen, I don't care what tomorrow holds. If somebody walks away from a relationship, if somebody, God
That's right.
forbid, dies
That's right.
before their time, I have to make sure you're okay. So that's what I make sure you're okay. So make sure with life insurance, that is very important. Again, I always start with life insurance because, again, we have to talk about when you talk about putting a financial plan together, you have to talk about the things you have no control over, right? And so, and Evangelist Adams, have you known people to pass away without life insurance?
Oh, oh yes. Oh,
And
yes.
then
Yes.
what did the family have to do to raise money?
Oh, by any means necessary. Any means necessary. You see them now with the GoFundMe on
Mhm.
social media, or yeah, it's a lot, and it puts a hardship on the family as well. But as you said, these are things that they don't even think about. Like you said, oh, I'm
Yeah.
fine, I'm good. Um, but yeah, yeah,
Right. So like exactly like you said, they start a GoFundMe, they go to their local church and say, can we make chicken dinners to raise money? Can the church pay for it? And I'm like, well,
yes,
you know what? I tell my people, let's get our priorities in order, right? Because people are like, okay, who's bringing chicken to the repast? Do you want me to bring chicken or do you want me to bring a check? Who's
there you
bringing the
go.
macaroni with the burnt edges? Now, Evangelist Adams, that's delicious, right?
Come on.
But
But it
but
doesn't
hey,
help. It doesn't help pay
no,
for cover those
yes.
expenses.
Do you right? Do you want me to bring macaroni with the burnt edges, or do you want me to bring a check? Right? And so I make sure that people have life insurance outside of the job, right? For when their
Yes,
day comes, because we may be different ages, different backgrounds, but one thing in common, we're all going to pass away. We just don't know when.
that's
So
it.
it's good to be prepared. It's great to be prepared. So I always make sure that people have life insurance outside of their job. The reason I say outside of your job, because your job owns your policy. I don't care where you work. I don't even care if you're in the military. As and today's Veterans Day, so I salute all of our veterans. Thank you so much
Yes.
for your
Salute to
service
them.
and
Yes.
your sacrifice, right? And so even with veterans, right, their policies, they don't own them, right? And so I was
Correct.
like, always have a policy outside of your job, right? Because your job controls the policy on the job. You have a policy you control. Now, when it comes to life insurance, it's always good to know how much money do I need in coverage, right? So I always tell people think about these categories: death and burial expenses. You need money
Hmm.
for that. Income replacement. So if anyone
Hmm.
depends on your income now, guess what? If you love someone in life, you still have to love them in death,
That's right.
right? And so, whatever anybody who's depending on your income now, make sure you leave that amount for them, so they can have the same standard of living or greater. Okay. It also, if you're paying for mortgage or rent, someone depends on you to pay for mortgage or rent. You have to leave that money so they can continue to have a roof above their head. Also, any education costs, and then
Hmm.
any debt that does not die with you. That is the money you need to, that is the amount that you need to leave. Whatever those numbers add up to, that's the amount you need to leave in a life insurance policy. Okay. All
Okay.
right. And
Okay.
so the second level I look at is emergency accounts, right? Because here's the thing, Evangelist Adams. One thing is for certain, two things are for sure. We are going to die, but while we are living, we are going to have a financial emergency. Am I right about
Oh
it?
yes. Oh
Come
yes. Oh
on now. I
yes.
know I'm right about it,
Oh
right?
yes.
It's like it's never
Yes.
convenient to have a financial emergency, right?
And that's it, as I was saying, because now so many people are living paycheck to paycheck, having
Mhm.
to have two, three jobs. Then emergency comes up, and it's like, oh my gosh. And they don't know what to do, where to go, because
Right.
now people aren't free to give money, to let borrow money,
Mhm.
to do anything. And then if you don't have good credit, you can't go to a bank
Yeah, right,
to get any
exactly.
money. So they're not even looking to do that. But let me put this plug out here. If there's anybody that's watching and this information is good to you, share, leave some
Yeah.
comments, ask some questions, and subscribe. So go ahead, sis, because this is good. This is some good
Yes, and
stuff.
thank you for saying that because we will share when we see a good sale. We will share when we see,
Share
you
this.
know, right. When the Black Friday coming up, yo, people itching to spend. Share financial freedom. How about
There
that?
you go.
Okay.
Look, we want to be free. We want to be free, free within our soul, also free
Hey,
within our pocket.
Come on now. Listen, I above all things, guys, I want you to prosper and be in good health, even as your soul
Yes.
prospers,
That's the word.
right?
That's the
It,
word.
it, it works
Yes.
together, right? And so we got to make sure that, not if, but when a financial emergency comes, that you
Hmm.
have the money, right? And so I encourage everybody to open up an account just for financial emergencies. And I'm very clear about that because people say, "Oh, I have an account." I'm like, "Well, what is that account for?" Well, if I see a cute outfit or I want to go to on vacation.
Come on.
Listen,
Come on.
I'm not hating on the vacation. I ain't hating on the cute outfits. But listen, that's called I call it a dibble and dabble account, right? Set
Yeah.
aside
Yeah.
money in a different account, but you need a specific account for financial emergencies. So I generally say about approximately how much someone should have in there for short-term emergencies. So what I
Hmm.
say, if you're single, no kids, generally you should have about $3,000 in that short-term emergency account.
Okay.
If you are
Okay.
single with kids, you should have about $4,000 in that account. And if you are married with kids, you should have about $5,000 in that account. And I specifically say short term because a lot of people tend to keep all of their money in the savings account. Here's the thing with that,
Hmm.
Evangelist Adams, is that there's a low rate of return in the bank, right? It
Yes.
is like 0.00. I don't know, but let me tell you what it is. It's disrespectful, is what it is, right? Some disrespectful amount, right, of what they give you back. They get 8 to 14% generally. They give you less than 1%. So I said just keep enough in there to for short term emergencies. And then what I suggest to my clients is invest the rest because all emergencies don't happen now, right? There will be
Right.
emergencies that happen 3, 4, 5 years down the line. Well, guess what? Let that money grow while it waits for its purpose, right? So
Yes.
keep money in your account just for financial emergencies, right? So that's the second level of your strong financial house. Everybody's strong financial house. The third level is protection management, asset protection. Make sure you protect what you already have. That is so
Hmm.
important. And so when I look at these things, I look at things such as making sure you have a will, right, or a trust. There are too many people dying without a will. And generally I ask people when, and since you're my audience, um, Evangelist Adams, let me ask, have you heard of even like any celebrities dying without a will?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Right.
I've
And
heard
so,
of quite a few. And that right there is chaotic, confusion. It brings about division within family. It's not a
mhm.
good, not a good sight at all. Not a good thing at all.
Yeah, and you are absolutely right. And if my memory serves me correctly, now don't write into the show if I'm wrong, because don't quote me. But if my memory serves me correctly, I believe Chadwick Boseman, the actor from Black Panther, died without a will. I believe Prince died without a will. Aretha Franklin. The list goes on, right? And so, like you said, people have to fight over, their properties and possessions, and so you need a will. And some people think I
Hmm.
don't have a lot of you have enough assets to have a
Enough.
will. Know what I'm saying? And so I make sure that people have wills sooner rather than later. Also make sure that they have proper, car insurance and homeowner insurance
Hmm.
and business insurance. If you live in a house, listen, the holidays are coming up and listen, people are out there stealing packages,
Oh,
unfortunately,
come
right? So
on.
make sure you have a home security system to protect you and your family. And then also people unfortunately are stealing identity. So identity theft defense. So those are the things that I suggest people get and that I do for my clients. All right.
Okay.
And then the third level is now I'm glad we're sitting down, Evangelist Adams. I'm glad
Uh-oh.
we're sitting down. Buckle up. Ready or not, here I
I was
come.
going to say,
Okay.
I'll put on my seatbelt. Put on my seatbelt.
Now, some people call this a clean B word. Other people call this a dirty B word. It's a B word altogether. Budgeting. And
Ah,
people are like,
talk about
yeah.
it.
They were like, Crystal, I want to spend what I want to spend. I don't want you to restrict me. And I'm like, listen, it's not about restriction. Actually, it's about freedom, right? You have the freedom to put your money in the best place possible so that you can be financially free. right?
Mhm.
And so what I do is I particularly look at categories of spending because I cannot tell you how many people will tell me, "Oh, Crystal, I don't have money to spend on a financial plan or life insurance or investing or a budgeting plan." I said, "You don't, do you? Let me see the most recent debit card and credit card statements, right?" And I want you to guess, Evangelist Adams, where do you think I see people spend the most money on? What things?
Oh, either going to dinner, buying
Hmm.
clothes. Um,
Absolutely.
it's- yeah, they may pay their bills or whatever, but the majority, come on, we get a paycheck. The first thing we thinking is, oh, I'm going to get this. I saw this outfit here. I
Oh,
saw this.
absolutely.
I'm going. Oh, I'm planning this trip in the summer. But yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely. And so I tell them, you have the money, just giving it to the wrong person, right?
There you go. There
Giving
you
it to the
go.
wrong things, right? And so what I do and what others should do is look at categories of spending, right? And the categories I particularly I look at, okay, how much, because, we get monthly statements. So I
Hmm.
encourage you to
Hmm.
do this. And it's an eye opener because when my financial advisor did this for me, she was like, "Crystal, I did your budget and you are wasting $300." I was
Ooh.
adamant. I was like, "No, I'm not. I don't even get paid that much. There's no way I could be spending $300." So, listen, Advanced Adams, she went down that list. She said, "Popeyes,
Uh-oh.
Applebee's." She
Uh-oh.
said, "Okay,
Uh-oh.
enough. All right, okay, I got you." So, and that's the thing. So that's why I encourage people look at, okay, so what I do encourage you to do is look through your most recent debit card and credit card statements. I want you to
Hmm.
highlight categories of spending. So every time you spent money on dining in or dining out, highlight that and then add that amount up. Every
Ooh.
time you went grocery
Mm-mm.
shopping, add, you're like, I don't know if I want to do that. Listen, I tell people no pain, no gain. This is gonna hurt a little bit, maybe a lot.
A
All
little
right, when
bit
you
might make
first,
me want to cry.
right,
Might make
right.
me want to cry.
Get your tissues, and maybe you and make it a party, right? Have a budgeting party, make it fun, right? Budgeting happy hour,
Right,
whatever you want to
right.
do. We'll look through it together, right?
There you go.
Every time you did retail shopping, I want you to highlight that retail shopping, even online or brick and mortar, right? Whether
Hmm.
that's Marshalls, whatever, Ross, where I'm not endorsing these places, but these are the ones that I see those Amazon, right?
Right.
Um, and so every time you went retail shopping, highlight that, add that category. Oh, here's another one, Evangelist Adams, monthly subscriptions. People got more
Oh,
subscriptions than they know, or they thought they canceled or didn't remember that they have them. Go through your debit card and credit card statements and highlight every time it shows a monthly subscription. Add that up,
yes,
right? And
yes.
then add up entertainment, and then
And
add
then
up.
you know what, sis?
Mhm.
Half of those subscriptions we don't even use.
Don't even use. I
Don't
can't tell you how
even
many
use.
I go through this with my clients. They're like, "Oh, I forgot about that. That's why we're doing this." Okay.
And then it's money that's just gone. It's we don't have it to waste. We don't have it to waste.
Yeah, and
Oh
those
boy.
companies not gonna call you and be like, hello, Kimberly, you haven't been using the service. They're gonna be like, "Oh no, she's paying us,
Mm-mm.
so we're gonna keep taking the money out of her account, right?"
Every time. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm. Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah, thank
Yes.
you, right? So go through that and add that up and look to
Hmm.
see how much you're spending those categories. It is an eye opener, right? And
Yes,
so what
I
I
bet.
do, I challenge people to challenge yourself to spend a little less in those categories per month. For example, let's say your dining out expense came to $400. So what I encourage you to do is say, okay, I'm going to spend 300 next month. And so with that extra $100, reroute it to something else you need um in your um in your financial plan. So let's say you don't have
Hmm.
any money in your emergency account. Say I'm going to put $100 in my emergency account, or
Hmm.
take half of that and put it in emergency account, half of that put it on a life insurance plan. So whatever you need, make sure you reroute that money, right? And then also let me say this: when and it is okay to have a account for like traveling, right? It is
Hmm.
okay to have what I call a charity account, right? Not so it's not that you can't stop spending on it. It's just have a separate account for that, and when that money is depleted, it's gone for the month. right?
That's right.
And listen, our society makes us spend for not makes us, but creates things for us to spend for, right? I'm
All the
telling
time.
I don't care what ethnicity you are or what you celebrate. There's bar mitzvahs, there's quinceañeras, there's Juneteenth parties, there's Christmas, there's the engagement party. When I got invited to an engagement party, I said, "What is this? What if y'all don't get married? Do I get my gift back?" You know what I'm saying? There's weddings, there's baby reveals, gender reveals, and I'm like after the second kid, how many times you gonna have another baby shower? You know what I'm saying? So it's always something to spend. Graduations, oh my god, it just keeps going.
Yes,
So what
yes.
I encourage people to do, you have whatever you want to, or if you have family members who will ask you for money. And so,
Hmm. Hmm.
and also let me address that too in the black and brown communities, like because we are very communal and loving, like we want to make sure that our family is good, right? People
Yes,
around is good.
yes.
So a lot of times we may feel pressure to when someone asks us to borrow money, to lend them money, we really don't have to spend or
Hmm.
to give them. And listen, I Judge Judy, that's my girl. Judge Judy said if you lend money to a family member, you call it a gift. Because a lot of
It's
times,
gone.
right.
It's gone.
So they're not going to repay, right? So,
It's gone. But even in the word of God, it tells us, that when we get, just give it. Just give
mhm,
it. Because, yeah, because even in that brings about, you can lose relationships.
mhm, it has
It's a
all
lot.
of it.
So it's a lot. It's a lot. It's
Right.
a
And so
lot.
again, make a category for that, right? But here's the thing,
Hmm.
just because you have it, so Susie Orman used to say, just because you have it doesn't mean you can afford it. Just because you can
Yes.
buy it doesn't mean you can afford it. So when you see something on sale for $20 and you have $25 in your pocket, just because you have the money doesn't mean in the grand scheme of things you can afford it. So you have to think about,
There you
do I
go.
have money in my savings? Do I have a life insurance policy? Am I on track for money in my retirement? If the answer is no, you can't afford it. And just like when
Hmm.
someone
Hmm.
asks us to borrow money, and if you're not financially
Absolutely.
whole, you can't give somebody else money because now that both of you are not financially whole, right?
They
So
not
what
whole. So how they about to pay you back?
listen. You preaching better than I'm shouting, Evangelist Adams. You hear me? You have to think
And
about
that's why
that.
you, like you said, you have to look at it. When you give it, just look, they're not in position, and you have to
Mhm.
really think about it. Really think about it.
You have
Because
to
I'm not,
really.
I know my sister over here is struggling paycheck to paycheck for children.
Mhm.
She's
Mhm.
without, and she's asking me to borrow. How I'm going to look? No, honey, here you go. It's a gift. It's a
Yes,
gift.
absolutely. I'm going to bless you, and what God is going to give me is going to
Yes.
be 30, 60, 100 times more
That's it
than
right
what the
there.
money that I gave to you. That is an
That's it right
excellent
there.
point, right? And so you consider it a gift, an investment in the person, and a
Yes.
blessing to them. Okay. But again, at the end of the day, make sure you do that in moderation, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
you have family members or friends will call you, whatever. And so when people used to call
Because
me,
I'm not Adam's Bank. I'm not
right,
Adam's
right,
Bank.
right. And so, and listen to this, Adam. No is an entire sentence.
And we
Period.
have to
No,
learn.
period.
We have to
Yes.
learn how to say no, because sometimes it's hard, because a lot of people, we're compassionate. And
Yes.
we feel, like you said, when it comes to family, we want our families to be whole. We want our families to be okay. And sometimes we'll end up not okay in order
That's it.
to
Right.
help our family. Um, so we just have to learn. It may hurt, may
Hmm.
cause conflict, but we do in turn have to think about ourselves when it comes to our finance.
You are so true. That is absolutely correct. And I concur 100%, right? And the thing is, I tell people, when people would call me and ask me money, I would say, silver and gold have I now? None. But what I have for you is a financial plan. Let's talk. Yeah, I don't hear from them again. Right? Because again, to me,
Yeah.
it's a mindset, right? And so that's
Hmm.
what I tell people, even my clients that I talk to who just love their family so much want to give. I said, next time little Johnny call you or whoever Tyrone, Angela, Pamela, Renee, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, whoever's calling you, right? Tell them, silver and gold have I known. What I have is a financial planner named Christal Johnson. Let me give you her number, right? I bet they'll
Yeah.
stop calling you. Or they will actually call me because here's the thing, Evangelist Adams. If I give you a fish, you eat for a day.
There you go. There you
I
go.
teach
But if I
you.
teach,
Come
there you
on
go.
now.
There
You will
you
eat
go.
for what? A lifetime. So instead
There
of
you
me giving
go.
you this money that I can't afford to give you, I'm going to help put a plan together for you. Right.
That's
So
it.
you can eat for a lifetime. Right. And
That's it.
so also I look at debt elimination. Right. That's another step in people's strong financial house and their financial plan. So I remember before I became a financial consultant, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with my debt, so I'm not going to pay any of it. Now, talk about a poor mindset. I'm like, oh, I just owe too many people. Nobody's getting any money. So my financial planner gave me a plan. She was
Right.
like, let's do debt stacking, right? Also called snowballing. Let's look at all of your
Hmm.
debt, put them in order from the least expensive balance to the most expensive, and put a plan together to pay off your least expensive debt. So let's say it's $50. So I paid the $50 off and I felt great. Like when you pay stuff off, you feel good.
Yes.
So
Woo.
when I paid that
Yes.
$50 off, I took that same 50, put it on the next debt, which was like
Next one.
200.
Hmm.
And keep doing that until all debt is paid off. So yes, you can. It's just you have to have a plan and then someone who is going to hold you accountable to that
Yes.
plan, right?
Yes.
um Also, education planning and retirement planning, right? We do not want our young people and our kids to have to borrow money to go to college or trade school or whatever they decide to do.
Hmm.
Instead,
Hmm.
so with my clients, I can open up an investment account with as little as $50 a month. And think about what we waste $50 on, right?
Coffee.
You're right, I know, right? I was looking at one of my client statements. I was like, well, my word. Coffee, coffee, coffee.
Yes.
They were like, I have to have my coffee. I'm like, okay, well, let again, I'm not going to make you stop getting your coffee, but
Right.
we're gonna put a
Right.
budget to it, right? And so I want you to think twice, right, before you get all those cups of coffee. Is it still in my budget, right?
There you
And
go.
so put that $50 in the education plan, let that grow so they can use that money
Mhm.
instead of having to borrow money, when they get college age or again, whatever they decide to do, start a business. Also, I look at retirement planning. That is so important.
Yes.
And it's so important to start sooner rather than later. I cannot tell you how many people come to me and say, Crystal, I'm 50 years old. I'm 55. I'm 60. I should have started this earlier. And while they should have, I tell them, listen, you started. Too late is dead. So be grateful and be thankful that you had the mindset to start
Right.
now. And so I start with where they're at. Okay, let's see what you have and what you need. So what I do is a financial needs analysis, which everyone should do to look at how much money people need to retire. Because honestly, Evangelist Adams, retirement isn't an amount and not an age. People say, I want to retire at
Right.
40, I want to retire at 50, 60. Well, really, how much
What you got?
money
Do you
do you
have?
need to
Right.
retire, right? Because let me ask, do you know anybody who thought they were going to retire or maybe actually retired, but then realized they didn't have enough money
Oh
to
yes, quite a
retire?
few.
Yeah,
Quite a
right.
few.
And so I don't want that to happen to you all, and I don't want that to happen to my clients. That's why we do a financial needs analysis to look at how much money you need to retire, how much
Hmm.
money you have now, and then how much money you need to be saving every month. Because what that financial needs analysis will tell you is your FIN number, FIN, financial independence number. That is the amount of money that you need so you no longer have to work for money.
Okay.
Right. And so that's
Hmm.
important for people to know, right, when it comes to retirement. Right. And I can't tell you how many people I talk to that I'm like, okay, tell me what are you doing now? They're like, I'm retired. And then I work part-time in a daycare. You're not retired. You stop working one job to go get another one. Right.
That's it.
so,
That's it.
and so
That's
and let me
it.
use this word, successfully retire. I help people successfully retire, right? And also make sure they build wealth and manage their wealth. And then also, listen, goals and dreams. We work hard. We deserve to play hard. And what I found, Evangelist Adams, a lot of people have stopped dreaming, and I'm here to help them dream again because of the rat race of life, right? It's like get up,
Beautiful.
go to work, come home,
Yes.
go back to bed, get up, go home. I want you to dream again, right? And so, and I want you to know delay is not denial. And people think because I
No,
can't have it now, I
that's
won't ever
right.
have it. Wrong. Absolutely not. Let's put a
Wrong.
plan together
Hmm.
for you to get it. So tell me about your dreams. Tell me about your goals. So let's say, I want to go on this trip, right? I want to retire at this day. Let's put a plan together to make it happen.
Hmm.
And so I keep them accountable to that plan, and then I help them make it happen. And then also I understand, Evangelist Adams, that sometimes people just need more money. Right? And
Yes.
so that and the thing is I want to encourage people to open up your mindset and be open to other opportunities outside of a job, right?
Yes.
And because we know and sometimes we call job just over broke. Right? And people say, "Oh, I got paid on Friday." Did you get paid or did your bills get paid? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, and generally speaking, the bills got paid on Friday. And so, and I encourage people to look into other opportunities, right? Because we need multiple streams of income to make sure
Yes.
that you're successful and that you don't work, right? And so Warren Buffett said, if you do not find a way to make money in your sleep, you will work until you die. So you
Mm.
have to find a way to make money besides working for it. Right. And so what I do is, I, help people with a financial plan. And there's 11 streams of income in my business. And so I am blessed to do what I do to help people not only financial plan, but if they need additional income. And so again, I encourage people. And here's the thing, Evangelist Adams. I'm sorry, I just had another appointment with last name
Hmm.
Rogers. So please forgive me.
That's
Um,
okay.
so here's the thing. We were taught to be employees. So we have an
Uh,
employee mindset. And so what that means is if we hear about something that someone else owns, that they control our time, money, and freedom, which is a job. So if it's not something, a company that someone owns where they tell us how much we get paid, tell us what the benefits are, tell us what the hours are, then we think it's a scam. So if I approach people with opportunity, well, no, this is actually a business, right? Where you can set your own. Oh, that no, no. Well, what company is with? Oh, I haven't heard of that's a scam. I'm like,
yeah.
what? Let me tell you what a scam is. Working 40 hours for a job, never be able to own it, and still retire broke. That's what I call a scam. Okay, listen. And so I encourage people to be or at least listen. That's one of the difference between rich people and poor people. Rich people will get information. They will go and learn. They will spend money to invest in themselves, right? And so
Themselves.
that's what I encourage people to do. Do credible research on companies to see, is this a good opportunity for me? And then
Hmm.
listen, you have to be open to it and take a chance because people will tell me, "Oh, Chris, I'm too busy to do a business." I'm like, "But you told me you don't have any money. Now listen, pick your struggle. Don't be busy and broke. Come
There you
on
go.
now."
There you
So
go. There you go.
and so when it comes to goals and dreams, if that's something you need to do is make more money, then again, be open to opportunities that are not a job, right? But it's a
Yes.
business that's going to help you and your family be financially free. So those are the steps I look at when it comes to putting a financial plan together.
Okay. Well, Crystal, you have given us some good information that we can definitely grow with. I'm going to say that grow with.
Yes, absolutely.
And
It's a
even to make
journey.
us think and even to sit down for a moment and really, think about where we're at and where we want to be.
Hmm.
And I know you've given your information. We've seen it across the screen. I encourage those of you that are listening and have tuned in, reach out to Crystal.
Hmm.
And I believe that she will be able to help you in so many areas than one. Crystal, thank you for being my guest on today and presenting us with some great information. Because I'm gonna say this: if we didn't know, we know now. If we
Yes,
didn't know,
absolutely,
we know
right?
now. We
And now
know
you're now that
now.
you know it, you're responsible to take action. Yes, and I think,
That's it.
kind of an
What do we
honor to be on your show. Thank you for the invitation.
No, thank you. And to those of you that are tuning in and watching, I hope you've received some information that will help you build your future. Remember, we are united by faith, hope, and love. Together, we are stronger. Until next
Amen.
time, keep shining and stay dope. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.